Imagine Oracle Arena's roar distilled into a single heartbeat. Now imagine it silenced by the weight of what's about to drop. Because Warriors Nation, the seismic shockwave is real, it's raw, and it's unstoppable. Kevin Looney, our defensive fortress and championship bedrock, is officially gone, signing a 2-year, $16 million deal with the New Orleans Pelicans, a move that shakes the very foundation of this Golden State dynasty. Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report, where raw truths collide with splash-era passion. Smash that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so your heart never misses a beat. Because tonight we peel back the layers of a story that's equal parts heartbreak and high-stakes chess. We just got home from grind mode, weekend workouts done, and this breaking news lights up my phone. Ben Rogers was right. Rumor turned reality, and Life Sports Agency's Todd Rameser confirmed the deal. The 3-time NBA champ who stood tall through the Warriors' darkest trenches and brightest spotlight is packing his gear for New Orleans, leaving the Bay with unspoken gratitude but an undeniable void. Think about the grit Kevin brought the fence, so tenacious, rebounding that fueled our runs, especially in that heroic 2022 title run, where his presence was the unsung glue holding our championship hopes together. Now, he's gone, and so is the anchor at center. The reality? We lost the center spot that anchored our defense, open lanes for Steph and Clay, and grounded Draymond's defensive schemes. With Looney out, who do we have? Quinton Post, a promising but still raw center, and the emerging Trace Jackson. Davis, both yearning for their moment, but not yet the proven vets who can absorb Looney's mantle. This is a pivot point, not just in roster construction, but in the entire playbook's DNA. The Warriors currently hold $173 million committed in cash pace, but with Kayvon gone, the center carousel becomes urgent. Enter the secondary market. Miles Turner looks like he's heading back to Indiana. Brook Lopez remains a $10 million option, but is aging, and the names wired into the chatter like Al Horford, who at $7 million offers versatility as switchable. Shooting big who fits the Warriors' offense with his inside-out game, but lacks the youth to inject pace. The money dance is complicated by Jonathan Kuminga, still untied to a contract, who's reportedly aiming for a staggering $20 to $25 million per season, a figure that risks breaking the team's salary cap apron, putting the Warriors' roster building into a stranglehold. If Kuminga commands $20 million, the team inches dangerously close to $190 million overall, leaving roughly $8 million to fill out critical bench spots, a tight squeeze preventing splash acquisitions outside their marquee core. Could this be the silent pivot that eclipses even the KD-era's seismic shifts, where hopeful salary cap gymnastics meet hard-nosed budget realities? The whispers also swirl around whether Kuminga accepts the restricted tender offer of $7.9 million, betting on himself or forcing the team's hand. If he walks, do the Warriors dare to pursue an expensive center trade or gamble on veterans like Horford or Brook Lopez? The restricted free agent clock is ticking, but the front office remains notably quiet, the radio silence deafening after 2 hours of free agency madness, stoking speculation about internal tension and calculated patience. Meanwhile, on other fronts, the league's ballet of moves crashes hard. The Nets ship Cam Johnson to the Nuggets, who in return offer Michael Porter Jr. to Brooklyn, reshaping the dynamic balance of power and further limiting Kuminga's leverage. Elsewhere, marquee signings like Luke Kornet's 4-year, $41 million contract, and Dorian Finney-Smith's 4 years and $53 million with Houston underscore the inflation-killing modest Warriors' ambitions. The financial curveball? Most top small. Forwards are cocky with $8 to $13 million annual deals a wide swath below. Kuminga's lofty ask, but locking the Warriors in a delicate cap chokehold. If Kuminga signs for less, the Warriors gain flexibility to chase a coveted center, possibly Brook Lopez and Horford tandem, shoring up frontcourt depth, a strategy desperately needed with Looney's departure. But if Kuminga holds firm, the roster is confined, raising pivotal questions about this team's trajectory beyond the Splash era's golden glow. The half-whispers also touch on free agents like Thomas Bryant and Jackson Hayes, opportunistic backups with question marks, while Clint Capella has shifted to the Rockets, thinning the center market further amid an increasingly competitive cap landscape. Remember, these ripples come as Steph Curry fights to heal, Klay Thompson recovers, and Draymond Green adapts to younger energies, a blend of old guard wisdom and new talent that depends on smart positioning, not just star power, the emotional. Gravity weighs heavy. Looney was a true warrior, a 10-year journey crowned with 3 rings, embodying the ethos of resilience and unflashy brilliance. His defense was a wall, his hustle a heartbeat in our championship runs. Saying goodbye isn't just about numbers or contracts. It's about a franchise legend leaving the building and a locker room dynamic morphing overnight. Warriors fans, reflect on the underdog spirit of the We Believe era, or the dynasty's peak, yet nothing compares to losing a homegrown, blue-collar champion like Looney without a clear answer on what's next. This offseason is a swirling crucible filled with financial puzzles, positional needs, and fragile egos, and the front office's next move could either be the spark to reignite our dynasty or the crack that fractures our legacy a knife edge. Moment where high risk meets higher stakes. The roster's future teeters on the decisions about Kuminga's contract, the center hunt, and the philosophy pushing this team forward amid a shifting NBA landscape hungry for new narratives. As a lifelong Dub Nation believer, my pulse is racing just writing this. The tension, the potential, the uncertainty, it's all here. But is this the spark that reignites our dynasty or the crack that fractures our legacy? Drop your unfiltered takes in the comments. I'll be right there, heart in hand. If your mind just jumped ahead imagining Steph splashing threes with a new-look lineup that feels both fragile and fierce, then slam those thoughts into the comments because Dub Nation, this is the kind of off-season blood sport that makes or breaks legends. So here we are, hanging on the edge of a knife with Kevin Looney officially out the door. And it's not just a roster hole, it's a seismic shift that echoes through the Warriors' soul. We're watching a transition that cuts deeper than cap sheets and trade trees because Looney wasn't just minutes or a contract. He was the heartbeat for 10 years, the unsung sentinel blocking shots and minds from tipping over, the relentless energy source nobody outside the arena noticed until he was gone. And now with his departure, a dark question looms. Do we hold on tighter to the old guard or inject youth in hopes something new ignites? The puzzle just shifted. The vacuum left by Looney on defense threatens to rip apart the well-oiled machine. Kerr-built can Poole or Moody take that interior defense mantle? Can Kuminga, with his raw athleticism but unpredictable consistency, suddenly morph into a defensive force without breaking that delicate chemistry that's kept Steph and Draymond's leadership intact? See, these questions aren't just about players or contracts. They're about identity. We've been the league's blueprint for blending precision with splash, for mixing seasoned vets with hungry rookies now. We're at a crossroads that screams either evolution or erosion. Sure, the money math is brutal. $173 million committed. Kuminga pushing for the moon with numbers that make even the steeliest accountants sweat. Looming luxury tax hits that could bleed the franchise dry of flexibility. But it's also a chess game with infinite layers. Could Kerr innovate yet again? Imagine a shift where Draymond flexes more versatile defensive schemes to mask the loss, or where Curry's gravity pulls defenses apart enough to cover gaps that Looney once sealed with bone-crushing rebounds and smart hedge plays. But here's the kicker. What if this newly gaping hole tears the chemistry apart? What if the defensive walls crumble and teams like Phoenix and Denver run wild again? The West is a beast itself, with the Suns reloading with Booker healthy, the Nuggets balancing Murray's handcuff with Jokic's wizardry, and the Lakers mixing LeBron's twilight magic with unexpected role players. Warriors used to intimidate in this jungle, but what if Looney's exit signals a power shift that leaves us chasing shadows? Let's talk locker room dynamics for a second. Looney wasn't just a player. He was a glue guy, the grit guy who led by example in practice and post-game runs, bringing stability when bodies and spirits sagged. Without him, the pressure piles on the Draymond shoulders even more. And we all know Draymond is a firecracker, sometimes explosive, sometimes erratic, but undeniably vital. Will this new roster vibe fracture around that pressure? Or will younger stars like Kuminga and Moody rally, sensing a chance to step out of the shadows? Could this be the moment where a raw talent emerges unexpectedly, a new star who not only fits Kerr's system, but redefines it completely? Or is this just another chapter of emotional fatigue for Dub Nation? A grind that tests patience after years of dynasty glory and deep playoff heartbreak. From the grinded-out We Believe days to the near invincibility of the KD era, to Klay Thompson's miraculous comeback run in 2022, we stand on the precipice. This is where that storied resilience is either reforged or fractured. And don't sleep on the financial currents swirling beneath the surface. If Kuminga holds out, it could quarter the front office into a corner, making players like Lopez or Horford lifeboats too slow to react in a fast-shifting season. But if Kuminga takes a reasonable deal, that could unlock the gates to potentially snagging those versatile big men, bolstering depth, and buying time while Curry finds his rhythm post-injury, a rhythm that remains both unpredictable and legendary. Speaking of Curry, his 29 points per game last season reminded us he's still the gravitational center of all things Warriors. But age and injuries whisper that the clock ticks relentlessly. Is this championship window closing faster than we want to admit? Or is there still enough magic left for one more run? Draymond, at 33, adapting to the new guard, feels like the last gatekeeper between eras. Does he mentor these young guns into Warriors? Or will the physical toll finally wind him down? Maybe Moody can be bread and butter in crunch time, a defensive stopper that the Dubs have desperately needed since Klay's injuries held him back. Because let's face it, without Looney, we need more than just flashes from the perimeter. We need a system-wide recalibration in pace, defense, and heart. The contrast is brutal. From 5 straight finals runs that scared the league to this offseason of silence and uncertainty, the narrative twists like a thriller you can't put down but dread finishing. How did we get here? Was this loss inevitable in the relentless evolution of the NBA's merciless economics and shifting player mindsets? And most importantly, how do we fight back? My gut screams that this is the ultimate test for Bob Myers and Kerr. With massive contracts and limited cap wiggle room, every decision is magnified. Each line for a big man, each offer sheet to a young star could tip the scales between glory and fade. Watching the league's seismic moves, the Nets shakeups, the Nuggets' depth advances, Houston's cap boldness, it's clear the competition is sharpening their knives while we regroup. This offseason isn't just a chore for threads and numbers. It's a crucible for culture, chemistry, and the legacy of what the Warriors stand for. And as someone who has screamed every high and low from Baron Davis' improbable We Believe, stormed to the emotional roller coaster of Klay's countless comeback moments, all the way through the unprecedented splash of Steph's brilliance, I swear to you, this is far from over. There's a fire that can still burn in that Bay Area night, a new chapter waiting to be written with grit, sweat, and heart. This moment could be the turning point that sparks a comeback narrative for the ages, or the beginning of a dynasty's bittersweet fade. Now, it's your turn. Lay down your truths in the comments. No sugarcoating, no holding back, because every wild thought, every hope, every raw emotion, Dub Nation needs it all. I'll be right there, heart pounding, ready to ride this wave with you. Because in this chaos, that's how Warriors are made.